Welcome back to the Fast Forward Sailing YouTube channel. Let's have a look at what was a dramatic day of racing in the Tokyo Olympic sailing. So it was a day of upsets and comebacks as we near the end of the Olympic sailing in Tokyo 2020. There's almost too many big moments to cover in one video, but I'm going to give it my best shot. So here's some of what's coming up. We have another gold medal secured before the medal race in the laser class. The leaders of the 49er FX women and laser radial fleet, who've shown such strength at the start of the week, have started to crack. And the New Zealand favourites in the 49er class, Pete Burling and Blair Tuke, are making a comeback but leaving it late. So let's start with the lasers. Australia's Matt Wearn had another good day to secure gold in the ultra competitive laser men's fleet. Although it feels weird saying he had a good day, he had a 12th and an 8th, but they had decent results in this fleet when it's easy to pick up some huge scores. The Cypriot silver medalist from 2012, Pavlos Contides, has slipped back into 4th after spending much of the regatta on top. Brazil's Robert Scheidt has also had a disappointing last day, slipping back into 6th. Philip Ball, who was outside the medal race positions until the penultimate race, managed to pull off a win in that race to pull him all the way back up to 5th, and that just shows how tight this laser fleet is. Tonci Stepanovic is also having a late charge. He, of course, was the silver medalist last time round in Rio and just lost out to Matt Wearn's predecessor, Tom Burton. The big surprise of this week is the Norwegian sailor Herman Thomasgaard, who's had a great week and finds himself sitting in 2nd before tomorrow's medal race. But it's all very close between Norway, Croatia and Cyprus for those silver and bronze medals. Right, laser radial women now, and the leader Anne Marie Rindom, who at one stage looked invincible, has thrown away much of her 25-point lead she started the day with. And Rio gold medalist Marit Bouwmeister, who's had some shocker results, has climbed her way back into 2nd with a great day today, and she's only 7 points off. The leader. And unless Anne Marie Rindom can get it together psychologically by tomorrow, Marit Bouwmeister has a good chance of getting that gold medal. Of course, psychology is so important in the medal races. It's double points, so a lot of pressure, and Anne Marie Rindom was clearly showing signs of cracking under this intense pressure. Often it's not the best sailors who can win at this level of competition because they're all really very good. It's often the people who can hold it together psychologically, and you can see some of these sailors are really starting to crack and finishing off with some shocker results. So if you look at the results here, Anne Marie Rindom has got a 26th and a 45th, so she didn't finish this last race. So let's have a look at what happens here. So she started the day with a 25-point lead. In race 1 today, she had a pretty good start, playing the right side of a beat. But Marit Bouwmeister went out left, and I assume it was some wind shift or some extra wind out that side, which quickly brought her near the top of the fleet, and in doing so put Anne Marie Rindom from almost first to almost last very quickly. So Anne Marie Rindom ended that race in 26th, which would have been okay for her because she could just discard this result. The trouble came in race 10, and if you remember, there's only one discard, so all she really needed to do here was sail a safe race. But instead, she decided to get herself involved tactically with Marit Bouwmeister. Now, although Marit had won this race, she wasn't necessarily too much of a threat to Anne Marie Rindom as long as Anne Marie Rindom kept it together. But perhaps with memories of what happened in Rio, Rindom decided to get aggressive with the Dutch sailor. So before the start in race 2, which did so happen to be general recall in the end, we saw Rindom trying to luff up Marit Bouwmeister. The jury obviously didn't like that and believed Rindom had pushed the rules too much. And in that pre-start sequence, she had also been caught for sculling. So that's when you waggle the rudder too much to propel the boat, which you're not allowed to do. So those two things together gave her 2 yellow flags, and 2 yellow flags is a disqualification. So even though that race was restarted, she couldn't start the next race. Although that didn't stop her, after some deliberation, she did decide to start. However, she quit soon afterwards. Maybe she decided to start in hope of getting a redress. Maybe she just decided not to carry on in this race because it wasn't going particularly well anyway. And perhaps if it had been going well, she'd have decided to carry on. Talking of psychology, let's have a look at the 49er FX women results. So, the leaders going into the day, Charlotte Dobson and Saskia Tidy, have dropped back all the way into 4th with a disastrous day today. It was light winds, which I don't believe is their forte, being one of the heavier crews. Martine Grail and Kahuna Kunz in the Brazilian boat, gold medalists from Rio, had an okay day. They're a bit better in these light winds, but still not doing great. Two boats that are looking good are the Netherlands and Spain, with no disasters today. So it is still all to play for. If these light winds continue though, I think the British crew are going to be falling further back rather than climbing up the fleet. Also, from observing them, their psychology seems a little bit off, which is arguably understandable, but that is one thing which really can cause you to fall off a cliff like this. So onto the 49er class now. The British crew are still holding on to that gold medal spot. Interestingly, Dylan Fletcher is the boyfriend of Charlotte Dobson last time I checked. So not quite going the same way as his partner in terms of results, but it hasn't been the best day for him. And he's allowed gold medalists Pete Burling and Blair Tuke, who had a very rocky start to the week, to catch up into second, which if you look at the points, all these three boats level on points, which is amazing to see at this stage. So looks like it's going to be a very close fight in both the 49er fleets. My money is going to be on Pete Burling and Blair Tuke. If you look at the form trend, they're clearly the ones improving the most, and that's going to put a lot of pressure on the other boats. Of course, Burling and Tuke have shown they've got the psychological strength to win competitions, and the psychology, as we know, is so important here. So there's a lot of medal races going on in the next few days. I'm going to give you my predictions for the 49er fleets and the laser fleets now. So as I said, I think Pete Burling and Blair Tuke have got a good chance of winning that gold medal. Theoretically, Germany's Erik Heil has a chance of getting into the medal positions, as does Denmark's Jonas Warrer. Both very experienced. If we have a look at the results from Rio, we see the German boat finishing third there, the Danish in fourth, and the Spanish in ninth. And if we look at who performed in the medal race, the Brits lost. Could be psychology, but it could also show that they were just taking a risk to climb up into those medal positions, as they did need to take a risk to pull anything off. So we can't necessarily put that down to bad psychology. The Spanish had an okay race, the Danish finished in third, and the Germans didn't have a great race. I don't personally think the Germans are going to make it to those medal positions. I believe the Brits could slip up before the medal race. There's still 3 races to go, and they've already got 2 bad results. So it just takes one more to plunge them down in the results, which happened to the British 49er FX crew today. So my prediction for them is a bronze medal, and I'm going to put the Spanish crew in silver medal position. So 49er FX predictions now. Realistically, I think it's these 4 boats which are fighting for those medal positions. The Brazilians not showing their strength from last time round, but I think they're going to be finishing up in silver medal position. I really don't like how the Brits are looking, but if they can pull some results together tomorrow, and maybe if there's some stronger wins, I think they will finish in third. The silver medalists from 2016, the New Zealanders, were having a comeback, but had a disastrous last race. So it's going to be very hard for them to make those medal positions now. Let's have a look at where the Spanish crew finished in Rio. So they found themselves in fourth. They didn't have a great last medal race. The Dutch sailors also had an average medal race, and not the greatest finish to their regatta after quite a good middle few days. So I'm going to fancy the Spanish here for that gold medal. Of course, it's very tight. I could be completely wrong, but let me know your predictions in the comments below. So Spain first, followed by Brazil, and then the Dutch or the British, depending on the wind conditions. Right, here's my predictions for the laser radial women. So Anne Marie Rindom, who was looking so strong, if she loses the medal race, that puts her on 84 points. Of course, the medal race is non-discardable, not that it really matters because she's got something to discard anyway. So that will put her on 84 points. If Marit wins the medal race, that's 2 points, so that will put her on 73. So it's really all to play for. Realistically, it's only Sweden and the Dutch who can win that gold medal. If Rindom does lose that medal race, then Marit Bouwmeister only needs a 5th or 6th to win that gold medal. Personally, I think Anne Marie Rindom has the skill to pull this together. If she doesn't, it's down to her psychology. If we have a look at the results from last time round, she didn't pull off a very good medal race, but neither did Marit Bouwmeister. So I think it's all to play for. I wouldn't really like to pick between the two, as I think it is going to come down to that psychological battle. It is a fleet of 10, so even if you don't have a great start, it is a little bit easier to climb up through the fleet, just because there's less boats in your way covering your wind and all that. I think Josephine Olsen, the Swedish sailor, is going to stay in third. And if you force me to pick, I'm going to put Anne Marie Rindom in that gold medal position. Laser men now, I don't need to predict the winner for this one because it's already been won. Matt Wearn has the gold. And then it's a battle between these 3 boats for those silver and bronze medals. If we look at the results from 2016, Pavlos had an average medal race. Stepanovic had a terrible medal race after going into it in the lead, but he had a little bit of a match race with Australia's Tom Burton, so that could have played into the result. But if I do remember, he did fall off a cart psychologically a bit, so I'm not going to fancy him to perform in this medal race. Interestingly, if we look at the 2012 results, Cyprus finished last in the medal race, and interestingly Slingsby's finished second last, so it looks like it was a match race between them then, so we can't necessarily tell psychologically, but it doesn't look like Contides has the best of medal racing ability. But I'm going to put Contides in third position, I'm going to put Stepanovic in fourth, and I'm going to put Thomas Gard in second. That might be a bit controversial, but I think it could really go either way for Thomas Gard. He's been having a great week, which will be good for him psychologically. Perhaps he just doesn't have so much pressure on his shoulders, and sometimes it's something as small as that which can make all the difference. So yeah, let me know your predictions. Do you agree with me? Do you disagree? Things are really getting exciting now. It'll be a great watch for the next few days. I'll be keeping you updated on the action, so if you don't want to miss those videos, press the subscribe button and then the alerts bell. The alerts bell is what will send you those notifications when I release a new video. So with that said, I'm going to leave it there, and I hope to see you in the next video.